so we should grind this, right?
Yes, let's grind this. Let's grind this.
All right, so if you just joining in, my name is Olaemma Opara. I'm your growth strategist, business curator, principal executive signature initiatives, and visionary wing Nigeria. It's an exciting time, Joe. I mean, it's our third episode of the series, goal setting, and
yes.
of course, scoring your goals for 2022. I feel very excited. It's a beautiful morning, Lagos, and of course, being on Broad Street Radio is an exciting moment in time that I always look out for. I wasn't in Lagos as I yesterday, and I just knew I just needed to be here this morning, right? For the many lives that we can impart, and then for the many stories that we can tell in the Broad Street Radio way. All right. So people, we've started from how to set goals as an individual, connecting your marriage life, your personal life, your work life, and all of it. And we moved from there into setting business goals. According to Rayover Ojolasi, it was according to him, it said that our first episode was very heavy, the depth was rich, and then great impact, and we had a lot of people turning up with comments, review, telling us how beautiful that moment was. I mean, a lot of people told me about how it was a life-changing experience for them, right? And then we moved from there into the technical part of business building. I'd said a lot of things about business last week. I talked about your many growth metrics. I talked about the life cycle of every business expected. I also did talk about the fact about how you can stay ahead of competition, right? So if, of course, you missed that particular one, get on Broad Street Radio. The video is there, and it's also on my channel on YouTube, right? Olaemma Opara-Signature. It's also on my channel on YouTube. So this morning we're going to be talking about career goals. So we have talked about you and you, and then we've talked about your business. It's time to talk about your career, right? Yes. And career, of course, is an exciting thing to talk about. It's easy to think that a businessman does not have a career. I mean, entrepreneurship is a form of vocation, right? And vocation is, to a large extent, what career can be seen as when it comes to synonyms, right? Okay. So it's also important that we understand that, right? So I have a career in entrepreneurship, I have a career in every other spheres and all of that. So your occupation is likely not your career, right? It is just your, what's the word now? It's your job role per time, right? And all of that. So we're going to be talking about career, so if you're a career person out there. More of what I would want to do this morning is take questions, grant them in and out, and then we're able to move from one level to other. I don't want it to just be my whole teaching section. But let's talk about something very powerful when we talk about career. One of the things you need to understand is that every time we talk about career, people tend to think we're talking about just the professionals, right? You think what we're talking about is accounting. You think what we're talking about is these other spheres of things that has to do with professional services and professional work, or what you call professional life parts, accountants, engineering, and all of those things. I mean, a lot of people talk about no go keep my career out, right? So that's what everybody is thinking about. But I want to take you through a journey, okay? And then I want to take us through a journey, and this journey is going to move me into what I need to talk to you about with setting goals for 2022 for your career. So this journey is a journey of humans, right? So this journey is a journey of humans. So in other words, don't forget we have said that idleness, of course, is not just the devil's workshop. It also renders God useless. God useless. Yes. All right. So that you're idle means you're saying that God was wrong to have largely curated you. So if idleness is the devil's workshop, okay, it largely talks about the fact that your source image is also useless. So you want to get working. So in 2022, one of the major things I like you to concentrate in is to ensure and do your best to make sure that everything that you do your best to kill boredom, you do your best to kill idleness, right? it's very, 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 very important to do that, right? So
Yeah,
the
sure.
first thing is that human beings are living is what validates the existence of God, right? So I want to understand that. So I'll take you through this journey. There's a journey about the evolution and then the revolution of man and how man has evolved with work over time, right? So there was something we call the agrarian economy, right? So every economy or revolution per time is what tells how great a value or how great your career has value per time, right? So there is an agrarian economy. That was the first economy that talks about the fact that the power is in the hands of a few. I mean, it was that economy where it was difficult to find the son of a poor man falling in love with the king's daughter. You know that banana Nollywood kind
Exactly.
of view, all right? So you know that Nollywood thing where it's always a taboo finding the poor person being a friend with those in the royal class, right? So the
Yes.
agrarian actually talks about the fact that it was production that has to come from the soil, right? So it means agrarian simply means that man at a point in time where people would till the ground, who would do primary productions and all of that, right? And then we move from the agrarian economy. Don't forget, the agrarian economy was the economy that provided opportunity for a few, right? Those in power were those who were robbing all the opportunity into your hands and in your nest, right? So when education came into Africa, for instance, I mean, it came through the palaces and all of those things, right? So those people took advantage of it, and then when they took advantage of it, before it came down to the lower cadre of the society, I mean, these people were already educated everywhere, so it was a privilege to be educated, right? Not like today when education has become a sense of rights. Now we understand that there are some places around the world where education is not yet affordable, and where
Sure.
education seems to be, you know, like rocket science and all of that. But then we should be able to come to a point where curing ignorance becomes a right for every child, right? So that was that age. The agrarian age showed you about the fact that, I mean, it was a time in a village where everybody else who was not in the ruling class or in the power class were individuals or families who would till the soil, make their harvest, and go present to the king to share from. Right? So that was that particular revolution. And then from there you get into the industrial revolution, right?
Sure.
It was where, you know, subjects like management became very important. When I was little, how many of us did this song? I don't know what they call it, but when we were small, what they call it is Sanda Lili, Sanda Lili. Whatever thing else they said is the original one, it doesn't concern me. I don't know that. What I know is Sanda Lili, Sanda Lili. You know, Sanda Lili, Sanda Tension, you know. You know, what do you want to be? And then we all said, I want to be I want to be a
I
doctor.
want to be a doctor,
I want to be an accountant. I want to
a
be a
lawyer.
You know, so
Yes.
you look at all of those kind of professions that we did mention, and then you discover that nobody said, I want to be a comedian. Right? Nobody said, I want to be a musician. Does
Sure.
it mean music wasn't studied at the time? No. Now, one of the things you need to understand with this is that demand is what makes commerce beautiful.
Yes.
Right? So demand makes commerce beautiful. Right? So in that age, every one of us were not willing to say, I want to be a comedian. I mean, how many of you at that time says, I want to be a blogger? And you know, how many of you, whoever knew the skills, whoever knew these work roles, work, you know, career paths and all of that? None of you even say you want to be a media practitioner. I mean, which of you said, I want to be a motivational speaker? Right? Obviously, nobody, right? Because it was a system where we moved from agraria into the industrial revolution, and the industrial revolution was a point where man started to employ machine, right?
Yes.
And at the moment we started employing machine, business went beyond the batters into the business of systems, right?
Yes.
Because machine needs processes to be able to produce finished works, and
Yeah,
so
definitely.
that was what it was. So before now, do not forget, I mean, there were a whole lot of things that human being has to do when it concerns business. In the many years and centuries before now, you discover that the richest men in the world were people who were into slave trading. So commerce has always been, you know, from some sort of selling humans into commodities, and then commodities into service and all of these things. Now, it's important that we understand that. Now, it moved from the, of course, industrial revolution into what you call the information revolution, which is that age where computer, data became very powerful, right? Data became the new oil, very, 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 very powerful, and then from agrarian, industrial, and then you got into information, and then in the information age, that's the reason why you're seeing everybody who at the time became the billionaires and all of those big people around the world were individuals who obviously were into the IT sector, right? So the IT industry blossomed, great skills from every sector, every value chain of that particular industry, right? So as I am talking, I need you to be processing, right? That what you do now, or what you call your career path now, how much has it evolved following the many revolutions of the season or centuries or the economies that we have had around the world for this long. So you're thinking, you're asking. For me, for instance, when we did the Sandra Lily thing, I'd always wanted to be a doctor, right? I'd always wanted to be a doctor, and the only course to read at the time was to do medicine, right? But if you're in Nigeria, you understand that it is not about your dreams. It's actually about how you play to the standard of what is required to get to that point, right? So how many of you could make that cutoff mark? If you make the cutoff mark, over time, when jam you once, jam you two, jam you three times, right? And then, that was
you
what
change your
happened in my own
direction.
case, obviously. So you get to a point where the whole idea was about just assessing.
Exactly.
Right? So we're talking about career at a point in time, throughout last week, or throughout this week and also the last week, we're looking at expanding our workforce in my organization, and then we threw some vacancy out there, and a lot of young people decided to show up and all of it. Now, in all of these things, something was very clear for me. And what was very clear for me is that these young people likely do not know what they want, right? And that's because where there are no options, people are likely caught up into something. Right, so because there was no option as per information, when the information age showed up, when the information economy showed up, the options we had became very powerful. There was something the information age did. It broke that boundary between the high and the mighty. So there's nothing like an average society again, of having people who are average in your society. You know why? Because the ordinary boy in Ikorodu called Ikorodu boys got commented on. Their posts got commented on. Obama can be your friend. So person can be your friend. You could listen to them directly, right? So there was a time where you couldn't have done this, right? So that's the power of information. Data became very accessible, not only for the few privileged, right? And all of this, it became very affordable, and then everybody could access data. And once you're able to access data, it means you can process better information, right? And that was what that age is. Now, but it's good to also know that we have moved from the information age into what you call the social age. Now, listen to me carefully. There were possibilities and opportunities that the agrarian economy or the agrarian stage and age showed or presented to us. There's another possibility that the industrial age showed to us. That was when you call the blue or white collar job, whatever name that you call it, right? And then it moved from there into the information age. There was something the information age did. Data, we could make calls. You were not taking, before now, when I traveled to my village somewhere in Imo State, Owerri, Ebu actually, Ebu precisely in Owerri, when I traveled then as a young boy, they always pick me out and say, this Ajigule boy, come and show us how to dance Ajigule music, right? And then I'll start to dance the Shoki, the Ogofra, you and all of these things. And then before you know, from one Lagos music to another, one Lagos music to another. So I felt like a real star in my supposed town then, right? Town. Those of you who know Owerri and Ibu, you will tell that is a town for a long time. So I appeared like a supposed star, right? And then some of the clothes that I wore, right, I looked like an alien to these people, right? Now, the difference was this. It was because then, when the song is released in Lagos. It will take another many months before it gets to that part. Transportation, logistics, and all of these many other things, right? So it will take another many months. Now, So, but when information age came, the power of the internet broke it loose, right? So we don't even need DJs any longer because there are 1 million mix. You know, I don't mean that in that light, right? I don't mean we don't need DJs.
Definitely.
But I mean there were a lot of opportunities now where people don't necessarily need to rely on what another person knows because you have too much information to be self-taught. Right? So those were the many possibilities. As I'm talking, and I need to be looking at what you do now and how what you did or what you're doing currently have been able to evolve. Right? And I'll show you the differences on the age and how your career has over time been evolved. So the people who did law in the industrial age, there was some kind of law that were paying big money.
Sure.
It is different from those who, it's different. The way you operate law and medicine in that age is different from how you operate law and medicine in the age of information. Right? It's also different with the way you operate it in the current, economy that we're in. It's called the social economy. It's now an economy where it is not about having access to data, but also having access to data and quality human beings. Right? So a lot of people know things. I have met brilliant Nigerians, brilliant people around the world who will tell you, I know these things, I know these things, I know these things, and they say, but we're looking for opportunities. Now listen, when people tell you you're looking for opportunities, it means they possibly know their job, but chances are that they don't know the right people in the right places.
Yes.
Right? So you know it is Zazu, right? So he's been singing for like God knows when, right? But when the quality social capital, right, came in contact with that talent, what happened? It blows up.
Blows up, yeah.
Right? It blows up. Right? So it's important that you understand that. Now, I haven't taken you through all of this part. I am going to be talking to you about building your career in the social economy, which is the current revolution and economy that we dispense in our today world. Right? So if you're that career person, I'm taking you through this journey. Look at how it is evolved. Right? Look at how the journey has truly evolved. And then you look at the strategies that you can use to set proper goals to fit in this revolution and economy part time, right? Now, let's look at this very extensively. We're talking about the social economy, and then we're talking about your career. The first thing you need to understand is that your career is not your job. It's not your job roles. That's the first thing you need to understand. Now, another thing you need to understand is that your career is not same with your vision. Alright, that's another thing you need to understand. Now, you need to also understand that your vision is not same with your purpose. So your career is likely not same with your purpose. So what is your career? That's the question here, right? So what's your career? Your career is your method. So there are two things. There's two M. There's the M you call mission, and then there's the other M you call your medium.
Okay.
Right? So you have your mission. You have your medium, right, which is likely what you're going to call your method.
Okay.
Does it make sense? So you have your mission. So your vision and purpose are all encapsulated inside the mission. Now the medium is very important. So that's where your career, comes into play. Now, but you cannot use a medium without first understanding what your mission is, right? So I knew over time that my mission is simply about providing leadership.
Okay.
Right? I knew. I'm giving myself as a personal experience. I knew that my mission was about providing leadership. I knew that it's leadership and humanity. Right? So, but I am on radio today. I'm teaching. I am talking. I am doing that motivation. I am doing that strategy with you. This is a medium. Right? This method is a part of my career. Right? So it's easy to look at it and say he has a career in motivational speaking. No! The real career here is the career of thought leadership, is the career of teaching, in that sense, teaching. Does it make sense? So you want to ask yourself, what is your career, right? So every time you're thinking about what your career is, I want you to think of that intangible. It is always the total output of your many expressions.
Okay.
That's what your career is. It is the total output of your many expressions, right? So that gives you a better understanding what your career is. So if you look at me and ask me what's my career path, I would not tell you it is an entrepreneur. It's entrepreneurship. I would not tell you it is graphics design. These are the many things that I do, right? But that's not my career. My career is leadership. So the graphics and all of these other things are the method in which I express leadership.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense to you. So who is Ojo? Ojo Lasisi is a talker. That's my career. My career is I want to talk. Right? So how would I talk? I can talk as an OAP. Oh, it means I have my slot on radio. I can talk as a TV host. It means I have my slot on the TV. Whichever way you look at it, what I do is just talk. Right? So when you understand that,
That sounds so simple.
yes, it sounds so simple. So look at this. Disneyland said it's about creating happiness around the world. Now, in other words, so when I know that what I want to do is make people laugh, right? And every other expression I use to express making you happy, making you laugh, or making you feel relaxed becomes my career. So my career is humor in that sense, right?
Okay.
So, but I am basket mount. So today I am doing a skit. The next day I'm doing a one-on-one. The next day I'm doing a stand-up comedian. So if you call basket man a stand-up comedian, you'll be missing it. That's not his career, right? His career is basically about, this is what my mission is, to make people happy, right? So his career is in that mission. Does it make sense? So what's the mission? And so the mission is I'm going to make people happy. And what's the career? The career is going to make people happy through talking. Through media. I don't know if you understand that. So this is what the career is. So every other thing that shows up in the media space, every other thing that allows him access to be able to make people happy and make them laugh, becomes a tool within his career. I don't know if that's very clear to you. Right? I need people to understand that their career is not their job roles, and that's the reason why people can change from one level and then to another. Now, the industry you play in is not your career. The industry you play in is not your career, and that's the reason why we have seen people who have great careers. Right? I can give you names. People who have great careers, but their industry was the limitation. And then when they knew that the career is not about the industry I play with, they took the mission, went into another industry, and then made it work. For instance, have you heard reporters who say, I only report crime? Have you heard reporters who tell you, I only report, report maritime?
Criminal reporters.
Beautiful. So all of those.
That journalist.
So in other words, it means that there are some career, right? Or you can have different expressions on how you show up your career, but your career is the sum total output that is expected every time these expressions are utilized. So this is me. By entrepreneurship, by teaching, by everything that I do, at the end of the day, people must be impacted. That's my focus, right? So I am in the impact business. That's the idea. So that's the career thing. Now, but my role can change per time. Today I might be teaching on radio, the next day I'm on TV, the next day I'm in class, the next day I'm an author, the next day I'm doing a research. All of those things are my many job roles within a simple career that talks about impact. Does it make sense? Right. So when you understand this, it makes you position yourself better, have a better plan about how to set pure goals, that deliver great result for you. Now, having said this and clear the air, you now need to understand that if you're playing in a social economy space, then it is no longer about who you know. Like I said in the last time, I said people don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. The place of care is the place of social capital, right? People want, today people are not, in fact, it is so much value when people are sure about who you know, right? So when you find a lot of people making so much money today, you're asking yourself, how did they know this person? Oh, people are taking advantage of a whole lot of social space. There's Upwork there, there's LinkedIn, there's all of these platforms like that, right? These are platforms that were not there before. But they, through the information and then the social economy, it has created opportunity for everybody. So talents can now meet, right? So, and then you now have hires of talent show up, everybody in the same pool. So those who want work get employed, and those who largely wants to hire people, then go there on this platform to hire people. Now, the point is very clear. The point is that the social economy offers your career, your job role, or whatever game you're playing part-time in 2022. It helps it get clarity and understand that your possibilities and opportunities are everywhere. It is everywhere, but it depends on three things. Three things it depends on is the parable of the talents, for instance. Right, so a great case study will be the parable of the talents. Now look at this. The parable of the talents, the chairman or the boss gave 5 talents to the person who has 5. And then gave 2 talents to the person he gave 2. And then the other one, 1. Right? Now, that particular story talks about the fact that he was not wicked to any.
Okay.
He gave them according to their capacity. So if you're a career person today, you're asking yourself, how much have you got? It is largely dependent on the capacity that you have to receive. Right? So if you're setting your goals for 2022, you want to be able to set realistic goals, score goals concerning you building your capacity. Capacity is very important because that's going to tell how much people can trust things in your hands. Right? So I have seen people you call those who have the Midas touch. Everything they touch works. It is because they found a way to institutionalize their versatility. Right? And that in itself is a form of showing capacity. Right? So to that one he gave 5. He gave 5 according to his ability and capacity. Right? Why ability is internal, capacity is external.
Okay.
Right? So ability is about what you can do. Capacity is about the fact that what around you do for you. Right? So that's where you talk about people, that's where you talk about the systems and the processes that you've been able to employ. Right? So don't forget ability and capacity. He gave them according to their ability and according to their capacity. You need to understand that. So if you're not attracting so much into your life now, you want to ask yourself, how much have you been able to communicate it? Now, it's one thing to have the ability and the capacity. It's another thing to show up. All right? It's another thing to show up. So showing up, in other words, means a sense of being responsive to your talent and then your capacity. Now, in 2022, a lot of things will cross your mind. Great ideas will cross your mind. A lot of people would want to hire you, but the question is, would they be able to find you where you are now? Right? So, I used to have this idea that what you need to do is continue to build, you know that thing, build local, go global, build local, those are stories. Right? So I realized that the whole idea about saying you're going to be sorted after, the truth about it is that those big names that you want to look for you are never going to come to you. Do not forget, nobody, you would raise yourself to the standard of success. Success would not come down to you. All right? So the most important thing that you need to be able to make sure that you are positioned in a way and in a place where they can find you, where your capacity and ability can be talked about, the cost, right? And then that capacity and ability can be hired. It's important. So the first one is the fact that that gift was given out of the fact that they were given according to their capacity and their ability. The second is, how could it be that these were the only 3 people this man could help? How could it be that these 3 persons were the only persons? No, it's obvious that the 3 of them were people who are within the place this man could find them. It doesn't matter if he gave that one 5 or that one 2 or that one 1. The most important thing was that they were somewhere at the right time where they could be found. And then the last thing is that when you have been found, you need to understand that you have to a large extent celebrate your small successes. Now listen to this. So the person he gave 5, he returned 5 back. Right? So the person he gave 2, that one returned 2 back. Right? Now you discover that 5 for 5 is 100% increase. 2 for 2 is 100% increase. So the question is this: as you continue to work in 2022, do not be pressured. Right? So 5 for 5 means he has 10. 2 for 2 means he has 4. But this is the reality. The reality about it is that the two of them did it at 100% increase. So when did they perform? Was it great success? Yes. So it was successful for the person who has two. Right?
Okay.
Irrespective of his value, he was able to turn back two. So that was 100% increase. For the person who has five, he was also able to turn back five. That was same 100% increase. The difference was just in the capacity that they have that attracted what they were given in the first place.
All right.
Right? And so what's important is that you need to find out what are your abilities, what are the new things you need to take advantage of, what are the new opportunities in some new industry that you need to take advantage of, and then you understand that you attract who you are part-time, not what you want. And who you are is most times about your internal, your external, which is your ability, and then your capacity. Be sure to be found where those that matters, right? Those kind of people you want to attract may never come to you until you go to them. So last year, I took the chance to say if people ain't going to put me on their stage, I'm going to make my own stage. If you're not going to send me that invite to come to the world and speak, I am going to sponsor myself to go speak there, right? So these are ways in the social economy that you should be able to take tenacity and take responsibility for your career and be positioned in the right place in the social economic space. Thank you very much.
All right. Wow, that's a very powerful one right there from Mr. Olaemma Opara-Signature. I love to call him signature though.
Yeah, signature.
That's about it. Okay, so let me quickly go to the comment section where we have some listeners who have actually dropped some comments. And yeah, we're starting with Abike Olobisi again. Good morning. Good morning to you too. Then we also have Teresa Idam. Good morning to you too as well. And yes, we have a question coming from Collins Akpelu. I hope I got that right.
Yeah.
Pardon me if I did not. And he's asking, what is the difference between career and passion?
Oh, great. So, do you want me to answer direct or you want us to
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, so the difference between career and passion is, I usually will tell people, I mean, they say passion is the burning desire you have for a thing. Right. Career is not your passion.
Okay.
All right. So passion is the burning desire you have, not necessarily for your career, but it is for your doing part time. Right. Now, you can be in a career path and not be passionate.
That's weird.
Yes, you can be in a career path and not be passionate. Because passion is not limited to your gift alone. Yeah, these are a lot of things we did not teach talent and skillful people. So they end up working and staying too much on talent, not pursuing money or not going for money. I don't know if you understand.
That
so,
hits.
So this is it. So you have two friends. This is a way to put the example. You have two friends. Two of them were good musicians growing up, right? Great passion for music, great passion for music. Now, two of them wrote jam, great results, right? And one decides to say, I'm not going to further, I want to do music.
Music, okay.
Right? So this other person was still doing music.
And still schooling at the same time.
And then he understand that I am going to do music. But there's this opening in an oil and gas firm.
Okay.
I'm going to take advantage of it and make so much money to be able to build my musical career someday. I don't even understand. Now, he may not have passion for oil and gas, but clearly has passion for the money that can be made from it.
Okay.
So the passion may not be in co with his gift part time, but it might be passion for something else. I mean, there are sectors and industry that I have got to work. I clearly that I can't be in this for long, but I developed passion for it, right? So in other words, it's simply like saying God did not ask us to marry who we love, but to love who we marry. Right?
That sounds like punishment.
But then again, it depends on your level per time. It depends on the level you are, according to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, what I'm discussing is very deep and not very common. But people need to understand that, right? So I tell young people, if it's going to fetch you money, create great contact for you, and all of those things, oh, you can start to love and develop passion for that sector. And then that other chief gift can be a nest somewhere, right? So that thing you have as a chief gift, I mean, there were a lot of other things I had passion for. But over time, you now realize that there was one work that can pay the bills. Oh, you're always going to come around. You're always going to come back to that thing, right? So, but a lot of people said, I don't have passion for that thing. That's the reason why I can't do it. Hey, if that thing can pay the bill, and what you need is to get the bill sorted at that time, of course you can. Now, you now discover that a lot of the people you celebrate today, who are passionate in what they do, who are very big at what they do and all of that, whoever know that Don Jazzy would ever become a great influencer today? I mean, a lot of people are arguing so much about how we want the Don Jazzy that we used to know, who don't talk, who just talks into the band here, the Don that we're always afraid of. But listen, the young man is cashing so much
money.
With being a social influencer or with being an influencer. Does it mean he doesn't have passion for music? No. I don't know if you understand that. So your passion can be the burning desire you have for whatever need per time. Gets it? It is the burning desire, the love, the attention you have for a burning need per time. I didn't use the word gift or anything. I said for a burning need. So you may not have the gift that complements that particular career, but you have burning desire for a need in that industry, in that career path, right? And then over time, as you continue to pay attention to a thing, even when you don't naturally have a passion for that thing, the passion would always show up. And people need to understand that passion is not natural. It can be learned. Right? So passion is not natural. It can be learned. So your career is the total output of what your many expression, giftings, and capacity, would give you. Why your passion is about the love and attention and burning desire you have for a need per time.
All right. Wow. That's a very, very very, very elaborate one. And I think you took us on a lane where where most people would probably want to disagree with you that something that they love so much is something that they would want to do another. But considering the environment you have, you may not be able to do what you love. You might want to go first, which is exactly the reality of most Nigerians. They have something, they have passion. What they have passion for cannot put food on the table at the moment. And what can put food on the table, they have no passion for. So they are left with going with what can put food on the table, then and later now come back after making the money, then come back to what they have passion for, which is exactly the lifestyle that most of us are living anyway.
Obviously, if you get my message, what I was concerned about is I said your need per time. I mean, a lot of people, when we're doing all of this talent thing, I started out as an actor, a theater practitioner, and then people will tell you, come and do this for us, we'll give you the exposure. Hey, listen,
if I want 5 minutes left,
if I want exposure, I will develop passion for it per time, get it. When I get exposure and I want to
then you come back to your leadership.
I'll create another passion for money, and then I'll go.
Then let's quickly answer this before we go shortly, maybe like 2 minutes. Kingsley says, can your passion link to your career?
Can your passion
link to your career? I think that's possible.
Like one of the things we do at Signature Prudent School is that we, some of the nudgets and all the things that we do a lot of research from the school, and then we'll discover that a lot of things we're taught, from the past are not necessarily what it is, right? So there are actually stages in your life. We expect that you should be able to have sorted your career path.
Yeah.
And then we can now induce passion for that career. So can your passion lead you to a career? Yes. Can your love lead you to the cross to die? Yes. So his love, right? So his love for human beings, Scripture says that it was for love's sake. That's why he was given. So for love's sake as well, he led him to the cross. I mean, if you ask him, a lot of things happened. If you were meant to be human beings, he would say, the many times they beat me, these people did not respond. The many times they fought me, they did not respond. The many times all of these things happened, they didn't respond. And for that reason, I am not going to die for them. but he eventually
Died, yeah.
because of love and passion,
And
and
passion.
what the vision or the mission is.
Is.
Yes, can your passion
Lead
lead
to
you
career?
to? Yes,
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 it
yes.
can.
But the recommendation is don't wait to develop love for it before you go there. Let it be a career that is drawn out from what your mission in life is.
Okay.
So if Jesus Christ had a choice, he wouldn't want to die.
Yeah.
But it was a choice that was handed over to him by the Father.
Okay.
Right? Because he chose it. He made himself available for it. So in other words, if you are an adult, I mean already by 9, 10, we should be teaching young people, I mean children, how to find their vision, their mission in life, and then routing it into their career. And then teaching them how to love whatever thing they have found a solution for.
All right. So back to the comment section. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has been part of the show today. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching. And don't forget, we are also on other platforms. And yes, still, let me just quickly say, read out some other comments. Madam Mosi Taye, thank you so much. He said, keep impacting lives. Keep impacting lives. I mean, I think she wants to say. Then also Joseph Patrick, true passion can be learned, and love, attention, and desire you have for it part time. Lovely and educative. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you. And of course, this is where we're gonna, end the first part of 360 Hub today. Hopefully, our guests get here on time so we can go to the second part where we're going to be talking about our money case. But in case they didn't get here on time, then we can move on straight to the movie review segment where we get to talk about movies and what you should go check out this weekend. Thank you so much. Keep listening to Bros Radio, your number one business radio station. My name is Ojo Lasisi, aka Renova, and yes, of course, my boss of the boss.
Thank you. My name is Olaemma Opara-Signature. You call me Signature. It's an exciting week again, so I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, definitely. So next week, we're gonna be rounding up on goals next week. But hey, let me put you in suspense. So watch out for what the next topic on goals will be.
Awesome.
All right. So this is me saying, keep listening to Bros Radio, and don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. We are Bros RAD, and now that Twitter is back,